Hello and welcome back to the Calton Crypto video. I hope you guys are doing well, and today we're back with another banger PulseChain video giving you guys the latest and greatest of crypto news. And today we're going to take you guys through the origins of the PDAI narrative. Where did this all start? How is Richard Heart, and is he even involved in this narrative? And is he connected to the Atropa dev, also known as James Osborne III, or his alias known as Maria Rahel? We're going to cover much more, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this video. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in and leaving comments. I read them all. So before we jump into it, I just want to say a big shout out to the YouTube members who are choosing to support my small channel. It's just a way for you guys to show appreciation. If you guys really enjoy my videos, you want me to continue. But of course, you watching this video, you giving a like, you sharing it with the crypto bros, commenting down below is more than enough. And now to the highlighted comments here from Chris. It says, wow, bro, that's Jedi mastery knowledge right there. Thanks for this video. Another great one. Well, thank you very much. Very kind comment there. From Hexrock says, great poster. Lots to think about. Indeed, there's a lot of theories in PulseChain, but it's very, very bullish. Never a dull day in PulseChain. From David Murphy here says, great video. Well, thank you very much. And from Andre says, yes, please, can you make a tutorial for that fiat on and off ramp and Liberty swap? Love your content. Thank you, Kat. So yeah, stay tuned. I will be making a playlist for kind of everything that you need to know to start using PulseChain, all its DeFi functionalities and much more. So I'm working on that. But yeah, before we jump into it, yes, PulseChain today and in the past few days, it has been on the red side. Do remember, always zoom out. Don't blame your bags. Don't build any self-doubt of your bags. If you do so, watch my previous video. It really helps. You will leave that video feeling more confident in this bull run overall, because of course you have to keep track of the global macroeconomics. Then everything will start to make sense. Everything has its own time. Do remember, guys, we haven't even entered altcoin season. Bitcoin dominance is still very high, so don't expect too much from PulseChain, which I'm going to get to that in a second, because people are starting to throw around a number 238, which could mean a few specific days. It could be the 238th day of the year, or it could be the 23rd, I believe. Yeah, 23rd of August, which is again just a couple days from now. What does that mean? I need you guys to manage your expectations. And I spoke about this in my Telegram group chat, which by the way now is private, so I'm just gonna rub that in. I'm joking. Yeah, I just wanted to remind people, yes, the fear and greed index has gone down to 50. In my eyes, this is actually good. It allows people who are new to PulseChain to continue accumulating their positions, especially if they're not whales, okay, to projects that they believe in. Because I understand there's a lot of projects going on in PulseChain. It's sometimes really hard to uncover the really bullish ones, or the really bullish and undervalued ones. Okay, so again, if you're watching this video, I want you to know that you are lucky for coming across this at this time. I made a post about the PulseChain adoption curve, and I truly do believe we are in the early adopters. So you are early on PulseChain, even though, yes, we have launched just above 2.2 years ago. Okay, we launched in the middle of the bear market, guys, when altcoins were like minus 99%. Okay, and here we are now. We're just about to enter the first full-on altcoin season wave. And a lot of people are actually in denial, guys, thinking that, oh yeah, that's it, we reached the top of Bitcoin. It's crazy. It really is crazy. And then you have other sides of people, right? That's kind of the whole herd behavior, guys. You have to rewire your brain and the whole psychology. What makes something attractive for you to invest in it? People want to buy green candles when it's already happening. You need to rewire your brain. You look at these red days. This is when you need to get greedy. This is when you need to be like, okay, this is undervalued. The price might say something, but I know the future value of it, the future value proposition. These are the decided times that will dictate whether this bull run will be successful for you or not. Will be a meaningful journey for you where you've actually achieved either financial freedom or generational wealth or. So again, have an investor mindset. And I hope you've been learning about that a lot from watching my videos, but we're not really going to talk about that anymore, because today's video is about the origins of PDAI, as I already said. So we're going to start with this tweet from Sir Nathan. Big shout out to him, by the way. Go follow him. He has a lot of alpha, great thought process as well. Here he says, someone using the same username of Richard Heart on Simplex, which apparently this is basically like another Telegram, is saying that they are going to send the effing chain. I wonder if this is Richard. So here are some screenshots. If you guys didn't know, this is on the PDAI Telegram here. It says, I'm going to send this effing chain. So some random guy, no profile picture, and his name is Cogent Sociable. And here he says, I'm going to send this effing chain. Somi is right about the cycle, but we got capital. And here it says, I don't do TG, guys, so going to keep this quick. Q4, so the fourth quarter of this year. You are not ready. Good luck. So there you have it, guys. I mean, you guys already know about my thoughts in terms of the two peaks that we're going to have. I do think that we will get a peak, which could be anywhere between September to December of this year. And I do believe we're going to have a second peak, might be higher than the first one, in early 2026. And that will conclude the bull run. 2026 will be a year, will be a red yearly candle for Bitcoin, guys. That is, something that I predict because of pattern recognition. Look at the macro summer cycle. You'll understand that Bitcoin goes in 4-year cycles, where this year is the third green year for Bitcoin. So technically the fourth year has to be red if it sticks to that pattern. Now, of course, this is not 100%. We can't speak in certainties, but just keep that in mind. Okay. This is how cycles move. It's basically like a pendulum swing. We have to go through that loop. And yes, this is all tied with the whole phases of quantitative easing, quantitative tightening, where they go through like debt monetization, etc., and money tightening, with fiscal policies, loosening fiscal policies, which we've started seeing a lot with government banks. Anyways, moving on to the next tweet here. This is actually a tweet from me. I was quote tweeting someone, and here I said, just remember the principles of what Richard Hart taught us. Okay, holders are the biggest winners versus traders. Delaying gratification, true decentralization, no admin keys, right? And no oracles. We're gonna learn more about them in a second. Metcalfe's law, Hart's law. So that can be your homework, or I'm gonna make a separate video on this. Risk diode. Again, this is a term that Richard Hart used. Relatively low liquidity, which again I'm gonna make another video on this. And the fact that PulseChain is the only chain that has a digital golden rush. This is on the PulseX website, by the way. With the PRC20 narrative. That's a description of them in the PulseX website. You think I made up the stablecoin from the exchange I'm making? Look at my latest tweet. So again, if you guys follow me on my Twitter, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is the tweet that I'm referring to. And as you can see, this is a to-do list, okay, from Richard Hart that he created before PulseChain even launched. So here it says PulseChain mainnet MVP, so minimum viable product, testnet, go.hex.com, working with phex in progress. Okay, this is very early, guys. This will show what kind of plans did he have, what vision did he have for PulseChain. Okay, what problems or what solutions is he trying to introduce to the crypto market that maybe perhaps Ethereum is not solving anymore. Right? Because you guys already know one of them is that it's too expensive. So here he says, post MVP, so post minimum viable product. I'm going to assume post PulseChain launch, trading, PancakeSwap fork. So of course that is now PulseX, and you can even see this. Look at this with LP rewards, insanely important LP rewards for ERC PRC pairs. So what is PRC20? In our case, that could be things like PDAI. That could be things like PWBTC, which, by the way, Richard Hart, in many tweets, bragged with the chart of PDAI, saying that, oh yeah, this is the only token that did a 10,000x. And fun fact, that today's price of PDAI, which is half a cent, it is a 5,000x from its all-time low. Guys, a 5,000x. Absolutely crazy. So now if we go down here, it says coin ranking sites for PRC20s. Interesting. Wallet. This is one of the biggest ones that we're, anticipating for. Like, could this not only replace MetaMask, replace things like Rabi Wallet? Okay, I've actually been learning to use OKX, and it's a pretty nice support. They have good support for PulseChain, but anyways, I'll make a video on that. Uniswap or cross chains. Interesting. More bridges. Could that be a hint for LibertySwap, what it is today? Okay, they have the exact same amounts that Richard himself said, 14 devs. LibertySwap said they also have 14 devs. So could those be the same 14 devs that have been working on this for years? Uniswap V3 front end. So interesting. Are we going to see a V3 front end for PulseX soon? Stablecoin from my exchange I am making. Now this is huge. What does he mean by this? Remember, this is a to-do list before PulseChain even launched. Guys, aggregator, replace 1inch. IO, market orders and limit orders. Could this be Petias? Margin trading, Tornado Cash. We already have Hexnado already can modifier. So again, this is very, very interesting. Let me know what you guys think about this. Okay, so if I go back here, I said, you think I made up, and again, this is exactly what I showed you. I already showed you guys the source. You do know that PWC, EWC used to be active in the V1 farms too, right? And again, if you guys literally just go to PulseX farms, you can see the turned off farms, and there is, you'll see that PWC is there. And here, you do know that he bragged about the only chart that did a 10,000x. It gets even deeper. But if you truly understand Richard Hart's mindset models that he has taught us, you'll end up exactly where I am now, a believer of the Core 7 ecosystem. So yeah, I believe in all the Core 7 guys. Okay, I believe in the Atropa ecosystem. I believe in the alien tech with PTGC ecosystem. I believe in the current meta of this bull run, which is meme coins, because I understand you cannot disregard the potential of a meme coin, guys. The power of a community, which by the way is a utility, okay, is about being part of something people can relate to, easily understandable, funny. Don't underestimate that. That is true utility, guys. The value of any network, the common denominator, is the user count. Again, Metcalfe's law. Richard Hart taught us about this. So again, I'm so excited when the floodgates becomes are opened for PulseChain. The barrier for entry is lowered, where more and more people will come in. Okay, so you are early. This is information asymmetry. What you're seeing. Okay, you have to rewire your brain, because by default we all have the herd behavior, where we just want to follow the crowd. We want to, get alpha from doing the least amount of research. Oh, can I just watch a quick video and then just know what to do? Or can I just watch this guy who has, 1 million subscribers and he just talks about this token? We wait until he talks about an X amount of token and I'll just buy that. Do you mean? Guys, that's not information asymmetry. You have to be somewhere that people aren't there yet. Welcome to PulseChain, guys. Welcome to PulseChain. We're not on a centralized exchange yet. Yet we are in top 5 index screener. Crazy. So here it says, never changed my mind about these narratives since 2023. I call it the PulseChain narrative. We have disruptive tech. So now moving on to more PDAI. This is a tweet from Freedom777. Big shout out to him. He shows a screenshot, which by the way, this is the tweet that we're going to cover. One of the earliest tweets about PDAI. We're going to cover that in a second. And here he shows that the picture tagged was a T-Rex. Okay, with obviously the PDAI logo. And then the second picture from Richard Hart that he tweeted recently, a few days ago, or a week ago. He's kind of the same T-Rex. And this is what he said. The coin and the crypto cult within a cult that does not die. I believe PDAI succeeding is an inevitability on PulseChain with the direction we are about to go. Maybe you see things differently, but I truly believe it. And then here he says, PDAI suffered heart disease with Richard Hart's FUD. Cancer with Vietnamese exploiter 5996. Which by the way, a lot of people say that he's also the 877 dev, which is to do with Linker, to do with the CDAI, the dev who's trying to accumulate the compound required to kind of fix CDAI. A lot of things are happening in the background, guys. A lot of things. And even came back from the dead, KT MakerDAO ESM. PDAI is unstoppable. And then here he tweets 2 different posts over a year apart. Richard Hart is subtly highlighted the word die, not a coincidence. And yeah, as you guys can see, this is a picture that shows a thread with the first letter of each tweet spells out DAI, as in PDAI, as in the stablecoin. P is for PulseChain, P is for purple, P is for the people's stablecoin, or shall I say the first unstable coin that doesn't require an oracle, that will ping pong around $1. So it's technically not a stable coin, if you know what I mean. So this also reminds me of the whole 238. So this guy says 23rd of August, or is it the 238th day of the year, which is still August 26th. And also here, technically, the contract for CDAI ends in 2-3. The supply of CDAI is currently at 237 trillion. Is that a hint? So yeah, there's different theories going around, honestly. I just want to warn you guys, don't have too many expectations about the 23rd, which is, in a couple days. Like, PDAI is not going to peg overnight. That is too good to be true. Think about it. I think the way the chart is going right now, which is organically slowly going up, is beautiful, because we're actually distributing the tokens from the weak-handed people to the strong-handed people. You have new holders that are absorbing when the market is releasing. This is what I prefer. Now, does that mean it's not going to peg overnight? Hey, it is definitely within the possibility, the realms of possibility, if we start seeing more hints about a MakerDAO replacement and much more. The whole thing with the CDAI loop, and of course if we see movements from the OA as well, like creating and collateralizing vaults, tons of different ways this can go, which in a way is actually really great, because yes, on high levels of uncertainty does at least tell you that you are early in on something. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I mean, I would rather have under expectations for the 23rd, so that I'll be surprised for the upside, rather than wanting you guys to have over expectations for the 23rd and then be surprised for the downside. Okay, so I hope you guys understood what I was talking there. That's how I am. That's how I like to think, in a way, to be fair. Because thankfully, the fact that I have spot positions, like I'm owning my tokens, I don't have leveraged positions. Time is not really of a factor for me. So I hope you guys are doing the same thing. Don't leverage, in general, because you can get hunted down. We've seen what happened with whales like James Wynn, for example. Lost millions, absolutely millions, trying to leverage or short crypto. Anyways, moving on to one of the first PDAI threads, breakdowns, introductions, whatever you call it. This was uploaded in August 2nd of 2023, guys. So yeah, this tweet is created by the one and only living legend, the OG Pulsechain Hodlnomics. And he starts the tweet by saying, PulseChain theory time. After the first week or so, I've come to believe that there is a grand master plan with PulseChain, is to stabilize PDAI and have it used in everyday regular payments. I know this sounds absurd, but this theory is backed by a ton of impressive, diligent on-chain research from 9 Iron Capital and NEW too. The PDAI pegging theory. Read below for a certifiably mind-bending theory that would absolutely legitimize PulseChain while creating one of the biggest events in crypto history. Please read through to the end, as this will require a full community effort to make this happen. Richard Hart cannot do it alone. Strap in, folks. This one goes deep. Pause. Also, please note, this is just a theory. Although there are legs, you should do your own research and make sure you are making sound moves before acting on any of this information. Because of course, you guys need to know, coming into crypto, you should only invest with risk capital. He's not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. But here he says, for all we know, Richard Hart could retweet this and say, I'm a peanut-brained poopyhead, degen responsibly. We all should still keep no expectations at the top of our minds, because none of this has been confirmed by official sources. In other words, he's saying this is high uncertainty. Of course, with high risk comes what? High rewards. Okay. And there he says, let's start with some basics. The following are just general things that are common knowledge, but I don't know if anyone has connected it together yet. However, they're all important to grasp what comes after. So important information. Richard Hart connected wallets own 15% of regular EDAI in existing duty sacrifice funds. So yeah, a quick fun fact. The sacrifice funds, once upon a time, they were the top holder of DAI stablecoin on Ethereum. Guys, they were the number one position top holder. Crazy. Okay, and then here he says Richard has expressed public support for DAI over USDC, USDT because it is fully decentralized. So yeah, my latest tweet where I just showed the to-do list, it has a video attached and you can see exactly that clip where he talks down about USDC and USDT because of the fact that they require a bank account, because of the fact that they don't disclose the backing, because of the fact that they have blacklist functions, because they do freeze wallets for an indefinite amount of time for whatever plausible reason that they can come up with. Okay, so yeah, then he says PulseChain needs a chain native stablecoin to eliminate bridge risk exposure. Richard has tweeted recently hinting that Pulse has payment solutions. There is a rumored Heart wallet that is summarized to be in the next project. Okay, that's the one also they spoke about from the to-do list. And here he says, Richard Hart has said many times that he has something special planned for PRCs. Again, PRC20s. Those are the tokens that were cloned as a process from, taking a hard fork of Ethereum. So taking a snapshot of every single token basically in its current state, its current holders, and then merging it into whatever it is right now, which is PulseChain. So the cloned tokens, and that is called the PRC20 narrative, the digital gold rush, ladies and gentlemen. So that's things like PHEX, PDAI, PWBTC, PMaker, other stuff like PSDC, PSDT, etc. So now he says, okay, now let's get into the juicy stuff. This is where the bulk of Naira Capital and U2 research comes into play. The MakerDAO PRC contracts worked on PulseChain before the network was open to public. And let me repeat that for emphasis. The MakerDAO contracts work on PulseChain and were active before the chain was open to the public. No joke, minting, burning, providing collateral, all of this was seemingly some of the first transactions that took place on chain. There is something big time going on with this. The chain opened to public on May 13th. On May 11th, an OA connected wallet minted PDAI, and then he links the transaction, which I'll leave the tweet link in the description so you guys can verify and do your own research from there. This has the same owner wallet Pulse, PulseX, and INC Master Chef, as well as the eternal storage proxy for the whole chain. And then he links it. It's a wallet that ends with 2539. This means that the OA is conducting some high priestess witchcraft behind the scenes for PRCs and specifically PDAI. We also found that there are a few contracts that are required for DAI to function properly on Ethereum. Many require governance and or multi-sig. Well, the wild thing is that they all have been active on PulseChain since May 11th. Here are a few of them for reference. So Maker Deployer 4, Smart Contract, Maker MCD, the CDP Manager contract. Here's a full list of contracts needed directly on Maker's site. You can cross-reference and see they're all active on PulseChain. Note, you can see that there are transactions from before 5th, so 11th of May, but those are also on Ethereum, so they are copied transactions. PulseChain specific transactions begin after or on May 11th of May. Call me crazy, but I find it awfully peculiar that the OA connected wallets were legitimizing the Maker/DAI contracts and functions before we could even access the chain. PulseChain needs a native stablecoin, so that kind of is the underlying reason for PDAI, one of the main narratives, right? Because it's kind of a backbone of a blockchain is to have a native stablecoin. Why not just use EDAI, USDT, USDC that is already on chain? The problem with these is they are all being held in the bridge, not your wallet. If something happens to the bridge, your EDAI is gone. Stables are also relatively illiquid on chain at the moment. At the time of writing this, there are only about 15 million in stable pools. Creating a native coin is 100% critical to the success of PulseChain long term and needed for the ecosystem to thrive. PDAI/MakerDAO is fully decentralized protocol that Richard Hart did not create, offering protection against the SEC. Even without the information in this thread, it is actually plausible to think that one of the war games that was planned was to use other networks to our advantage. If Maker was to adopt PulseChain, Richard Hart literally has to do nothing but sit back and let the community do all the heavy lifting for him. And again, guys, this kind of makes sense why Richard is taking a step back and he's not fully really talking about PDAI from that kind of standpoint as if he's the one who's leading this narrative. He's doing this for his own safety, okay? And also because of the part of this is truly decentralized, okay? So keep that in mind. We actually don't need involvement from Richard Hart. Maker/PDAI would be totally shielded from the case and even improve his stance in court because he made a decentralized ecosystem. What better way for MakerDAO to go to a new chain than literally by using the exact same code with the exact same addresses with the same exact wallet multi-sigs? There really is not a single better use case for the PRC tokens. Given how much EDAI Richard Hart owns and given the MakerDAO contracts are active on PulseChain, it is also plausible that Maker or maybe other Maker governance voters are working up something. Path to parity/stabilization. Okay, so this all sounds great, but how can it actually happen? I actually think it's easier than people realize, and here are some steps. Number 1, community rallies around PDAI, pushing the price up significantly with small liquidity. Number 2, OA opens INC pool, boosting the LP, fortifying the token, which also boosts price. So again, he's talking about in PulseX V1 farms. Maker announces support for PulseChain, which would cause an absolute flurry to push the price to $1. Number 4, if only there was a benevolent force out there with $250 million that could then back the network. Is that a hint at Atropa perhaps? And number 5 here says add INC rewards to collateralization pool. More on this later. This starts with the community. Now, how step 1 above requires community support and action. With the case, this isn't really something Richard Hart can pump on his own or do some crazy tweet storm about. He needs us to do it. And the token itself has a long way to go before parity is even a possibility. However, if it starts to gain serious traction and LP is provided, there is no reason why MakerDAO wouldn't move over. This is the key. MakerDAO can do everything while Richard Hart sits back. The contracts work, the functions work. All they need is a front end, token liquidity, and backing. Maybe some functioning oracles, that's seriously it. And again, with everything in this tweet, it's not crazy to think something is already being worked on. And by the way, on that note with the oracles, what if we actually don't need an oracle? What if PulseX is the only oracle? Because again, guys, PulseX is a DEX and it is kind of functioning as if it is its own oracle. So we actually might not even need an oracle, guys. In our case, we're really evolving PDAI, we're evolving the MakerDAO contract, we're upgrading the MakerDAO contracts. Again, something can be happening in the background that we still not are aware yet. So we have things like Better Bank providing utility for lending and borrowing. Really great, because that's one of the needed functionalities for a stablecoin. So yeah, then he says, and again, with everything in this tweet, it's not crazy to think something is already being worked on. That's exactly what I just said. So crazy. Any token that can be used for collateral on Ethereum could have corresponding use case on PulseChain. So here, the first thing he mentioned, first other PRC20 is PWC, which I'm so bullish on. PETH, P staked ETH, also very bullish. PBAT and PGUSD. What's interesting is theoretically the DAO can vote to add PulseX, or even INC to the collateral or join module. This would be surprising and powerful use case that could shoot INC through the absolute stratosphere, while also offering much stronger incentivization mechanisms to provide LP and fortify the network. Imagine being able to turn INC into PDAI. Payments, the final piece of the puzzle. And here he links a tweet from Richard Hart. Says, in this tweet, Richard Hart directly said that PulseChain and Hex solved a payments censorship problem. In its current form, it does not solve this problem, so something has to change. The reason it doesn't, nor will ever work on Ethereum, is because of the fees. However, transactions on PulseChain can compete with real-world POS systems. With a rumored Hart wallet, it's not far-fetched to believe that there could be some sort of tap-to-pay function or card that people will be able to use for day-to-day spending. This last payments part is purely a theory right now, with only one tweet to back it up. However, I did find that Richard Hart tweet interesting. Not financial advice, but you might want to look into PDAI or PMaker. And this is the craziest part of the tweet, guys. Here he says, at the time of writing this, it is currently sitting at 0.0001481. So if I am not mistaken, that is $14.8 per 1 million, guys. Okay, which is a 67,000x away from $1. Absolutely crazy, guys. Imagine being in at that time. Wow. And this is exactly what I mean by Richard Hart's quote when he says, it's not about trying to time the market, it's about the time in the market. If you were in PulseChain in 2023 in August and you saw this and you believed in this and you've held it till today, you would still be tremendously up. We're talking 1,000x, guys. Like, look at that. That's 2 zeros. Or sorry, 100x plus. Hundreds of x's, guys. Almost 500, I think. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. So here he then says, since June 8, it's up over 45x compared to Pulse. Again, this is all just conjecture at this point. These are all just crap coin free copies still with absurd speculative power. Please keep that in mind and how to buy. And then he links, and of course, it's the only contract that ends with 1D0F. So a quick reminder, by the way, the contract, the token is DAI. That's the symbol. When we say PDAI, we're just using the P as a verbal P. Okay, to just indicate that we're talking about the PulseChain version, the PRC20 version, that's not at the $1 yet. So please be careful. The token itself does not have P. What you can do is go to GoPulse, okay, and then you just go PDAI right here, and then you can then get the smart contract from here and then paste that in Dexcuner or whatever, PulseX or whatever other decentralized exchange that you want to buy or sell, or look into the charts. So that is one way. It's good to cross check before you click on something that you see on Dexcuner, because it is actually really hard to find the contract on Dexcuner for whatever reason. But guys, listen, that has been the end of this video. I will make a part 2 about the origin of the PDAI story and all the different types of FUD waves. I'm also working on an article in the background. So again, if you really enjoy this, you can support in multiple different ways by just commenting down below, and of course giving this video a like, sharing it with your crypto bros. And of course, you can become a YouTube member. You have access to my members exclusive videos, which I haven't uploaded in a while. But of course, if you're choosing to support me either way, I do appreciate that. But guys, listen, that has been it. I really want to hear your honest thoughts. What do you think of PulseChain as a whole? What do you think of PRC20 narrative? Is it going to be the digital gold rush? What do you think of PDAI? What do you think of PWBTC? I'm going to end the video there. I'm going to go sleep. Okay. I'm going to sleep like a baby, knowing that I'm in PulseChain. But before we end, big shout out to the man above, trust in the process, and of course, trust in God. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.